we just prayed about it, because if we did make the step to move forward and go with them, if that was a possibility, then it would be within the first 2 months of marriage, and it was just a lot all at once, like the marriage, the honeymoon, and then all of a sudden we're packing boxes during Christmas time, like our first Christmas together married, to move to Baton Rouge.
At the time, I had 3 jobs. One of them was for the church I was currently attending. My goal long-term was to work there full-time, to do ministry full-time. She was fully on board with that. She loved the idea of it. We were both really involved in youth ministry. We spent every Wednesday there. We spent multiple days a week planning, getting stuff together for that. About October, September-ish, we got a job offer from another church in that area. They were offering a full-time position, and it was something I'd been praying about, that I needed more full-time instead of just 3 part-time jobs kind of thing.
The idea of having a full-time job while we were married sounded great just for the stability of it, but we just felt that, we both prayed about it, we just felt that like God wasn't calling him to that job just yet, so we just had to wait it out until something else came along.
So I went ahead and talked to the pastor there, went ahead and turned down the position, knowing that it wasn't what I needed to do at the time. It wasn't where God wanted me. This was probably a few weeks later. I actually got called into the office of the current church I was working for and got told that I was going to be offered a full-time position there, which in my mind, at first thought is, this is everything I've been praying for, this is everything I'm hoping for. And then with that same exact news came the news that Josh and Brooke were going to be planning Anchor Chapel. It kind of threw the first round of news for a loop, because Josh and Brooke were my mentors, my leaders. They were who kind of brought me up in the church. So it was kind of a stab that I was going to have to be leaving them if I took this full-time position. If I took this stability, I was going to have to leave behind the people that I knew were...
So you're supposed to work under.
Right, that I was being called to work under, and they were the ones that were like cultivating that creativity and energy in me to be like innovative and moving forward. I get all this news, I text her immediately, tell her, I pray on my way home, she prays. I think she was already at home, but we both pray separately about it. We're getting ideas formed separately, and then as soon as I get home, I look at her and we're both like, we have to go. We knew it was something that we couldn't turn down. It was an opportunity to be a part of something much bigger than who we were. We decided to go. We hadn't told Josh and Brooke yet. We were kind of just hoping they would let us go with them. So I called my pastor then and told them that I had to turn down the job, explained why, and then he sent me off with blessings, told me that he was going to pray for us. And at this point, I think we had told Josh and Brooke. They were excited. They were starting to like hear back from a few people that were going to go with them.
We just felt that if it were all supposed to work out, then God would give us a way. Like he would figure out every small detail of it for us, and we just have to just follow in the footsteps that he's left for us to walk on, because just the idea of like even moving, we just didn't know where we were going to move to. We didn't have a place to live.
So within weeks, actually, we were at Josh and Brooks, and we got word of a house in Baton Rouge that was going to be opening up around January, which we were getting married in November. So January was literally 2 months after. When January would have come, we would have had 6 more months to go, and they didn't really let you out of leases unless you paid like, I think it was, you paid like, that month's rent, and then you paid like
last month's
rent, and then a fee?
I think a fee, or you didn't get your deposit back because you broke your contract.
It was just a lot of money. It was like thousands of dollars we would have had to come up with. So we started thinking, and we had friends that were getting married around that time. I think it was January, like the week we were gonna move, they were getting married the week before. So we decided to ask them like, hey, do y'all need a place to stay? Do you want our apartment? You can take over our lease.
So as our friends were moving in, the week of their wedding, we were moving out, and we were sleeping on an air mattress on the floor in the living room because all of our furniture was already moved into our friend's garage.
We actually had been holding out for a job here in Baton Rouge because I was down to 1 full-time job back in Houma, and we hadn't heard anything yet. Supposedly the place I wanted to transfer to was very limited. They didn't really hire because they were fully staffed pretty much at all times. So on our honeymoon, last day, we actually get a call that the Starbucks location has an opening. They're going to bring me in. They've already started the paperwork. They've already talked to my manager. We moved into Baton Rouge at the same point that our friends were moving into our apartment back home, and within days I started my new job here. She started her new job within a month. It was like no gaps kind of thing. Like everything was left to just file in one after the other. It was really cool how like we didn't have a need through the whole thing. You have this hope going up throughout the whole situation that it's gonna work out, because we know that God works all things for His good. Whether that means we would have ended up staying back in Houma if that was His will, or if we were moving to Baton Rouge because that was His will. At the end of the day, it was all because it was His will. So we took the leap because we believed we were following in the will that He had called us to.
Like, just to know that God cares about every detail in your life.
Yeah.
Like, we always knew that, but just to see it just placed before us like that in a way that we've never had to experience before, because we were like seriously taking a leap of faith with the move, and like everything was just like we don't know what we're gonna do, we don't know where we're gonna live,
Right.
but we know this is where God's calling us, and so we're just gonna go with it because He's gonna take care of us either way.